beautiful evening to you and welcome to Sport Extraordinary on Atlantic Television Network. My name is Emmanuel Michael and I'm very happy to be back here to bring you all the electrifying and juicy stories popping up from the ever-busy world of sports this evening. On our menu this evening, we shall take a look at some of the major EPL games that took place last night, especially the Manchester Derby. Not also forgetting that Chelsea as well, they are making a push for the title, Chelsea, even though their coach is adamant of the fact that they are also pushing for the title. Then again, the big one tonight mix alongside Akraf Hakimi, Simon Adingra of Ivory Coast, Seho Gurasi, the Guinean, then again, London Williams. All this and many more is going to make for a proper conversation right here in the building this evening. We'll take a quick break. When I'm back, I'll introduce my guests. Then we'll head straight to the business of the day.
From the lines across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring all the sport news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economic, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today. Only on ATM.
Our lives are changed by history.
We are one people, all of us.
Leaders, politics,
nobody's ambition is what
I have fought very firmly.
natural occurrence, war, and the world economy.
I belong to everybody and I belong to nobody.
ATN covers it all on ATN Politics today.
Alright, yeah, welcome back from that short break. Joining me this evening to do justice to some of the topical issues that we shall be dissecting right here in the building this evening is no other person but one man you know too well. It's Miracle Onyekaze. Miracle, good evening and welcome to the show.
Yeah, good evening, Michael. Good evening, Port Harcourt. It's nice to be here to talk sports.
All right, nice to be here to talk sport this evening. I'm very, very excited as well because a lot of sporting stories that we're set to serve you. But starting off from the world of fencing this evening, as fencers from Egypt and Saudi Arabia dominated the rankings at the 2024 Men's Junior Ekpe Fencing World Cup, winning the top prize at the 2 days tournament, which was hosted by Nigeria between December 14th and 15th. Nigeria played host to 7 other countries with 39 fencers going head-to-head for the medals and world ranking at the prestigious Chartered House. It's in Lagos, becoming the first country in sub-Saharan Africa to host a fencing World Cup. At the end of the 2-day championship, Egypt won the team event after beating Greece in the final. Saudi Arabia settled for bronze. Despite facing a tough preliminary group which had Egypt, Nigeria managed to finish 7th in the team event. President of Nigerian Fencing Federation, Adeyinka Samuel, said hosting the tournament was a win for Nigeria despite the difficulties that they actually face. Miracle, let me bring you in. Fencing is not one of the popular sports like we know in this part of the climb, but you see Nigeria making a very giant stride in terms of hosting the fencing sport. What do you make of fencing and what we achieved in this 2-day championship?
Yeah, for me, I think if you look at our performance in the main event right there, the fencing event, the 2-day event, I wouldn't say that we were that spectacular. If looking at the way we finished and the way we finished, I think we finished about 7th position in the team events. And for me, I don't think it's a good one. But for a team like Team Nigeria, that is just starting up in the fencing event, and just the fencing is kind of new to us, I feel like there's still room for improvement. And within the next couple of years, if we put in our all and making sure that we develop our fencers here from grassroots levels and or providing those equipment for them to promote their sport in the sponsor fencing event, I think we can improve from now and then whenever we will be able to host such an event again. But for me, I want to say kudos to the body that were able to govern and bring them.
Yeah, but away from that, let's head straight to Formula One. This evening, as Rwanda is bidding to host a Formula One Grand Prix, the country's president, Paul Kagame, says Formula One is keen to hold a race in Africa, and talks with Rwanda have been known about for some months right now. The FIA, Formula One's governing body, is hosting its General Assembly and prize giving in the Rwanda capital, talking about Kigali, and Kagame chose its opening to pull its official seal on the Grand Prix project. Formula One has previously tried to revive a Grand Prix in South Africa at the Kalami track, which last hosted a Grand Prix in 1993, but talks collapsed over problems with local promoters. The Rwanda project is now considered the most likely for an African Grand Prix, but the project remains unconfirmed. FIA president, talking about Ben Suliam, met with Rwanda Sport Minister Richard Nyeresima at the General Assembly meeting. Miracle, this is a very big one for Africa, not just for Rwanda. They are bidding to host to become the first African country since 1993, when South Africa hosted the Formula One, to become the first country to host this very one. Are you excited about this? And do you think that Rwanda, they have what it takes? Talking about the facilities, the track, cycle, does it actually meet up the standard of the Formula One?
Yeah, for me, I think it's a big one. It's a big and a massive one for Africa as a whole. We know over the last couple of months, South Africa themselves as well have also tried to host the Formula One event. We know that Formula One is a major sporting event when it comes to globally. And we know the Europeans, the Asians, they are the ones that normally have this bidding rights. They are the ones hosting the event. We see Grand Prix in Saudi Arabia. We've seen Grand Prix in Singapore. We've seen Grand Prix in the US, you can name them, but down here in our own African continent, we've not been able to gather any country, any Grand Prix of late. And for me, for Rwanda trying to bid for them to host, although it's still unconfirmed, but I think for me, it's a good one. There's still a lot to be done, a lot of money still has to be put into the sports here in Africa, and there's still a lot of promotion that still needs to be done as well. For me, if Rwanda are able to pull this off, I think it will be a big one.
I think it's about maybe there's a political undertone to this, or is it about them just trying to establish themselves in the world of sport? Just like what we see Saudi Arabia doing, where they are also trying to use sport as a means, or as a makeshift rather, to also cover the problem of their human rights abuses and all of that. So basically, do you think that what Paul Kagame is trying to do is about, there's a political undertone to it, or is about a genuine intention in developing sport in Rwanda?
For me, you wouldn't know the intention of a person until you see what the person actually does in the future. Because currently now, it's still yet to be done. It's just some speculations and some reports coming down here, or that we just heard about of them hosting such events. And I feel like, for me, I wouldn't think it's based on the politics. For me, I think every country will need to grow in sporting events, and every country needs to be on the limelight of sporting events. So I feel there's no country that wouldn't want to progress and down there by bringing those sporting events down there to their country. It calls for development. It calls for other ways to improve the countries and ways of establishment as well. So for me, I wouldn't think the politics is what the man is playing down there. I just think the man wants to develop the country. We saw how the World Cup in 2010 actually developed South Africa. Even till today, they are still reaping the fruit of their labor based on that World Cup. And I feel Rwanda still just want to do the same. And for me, if they are able to pull this off, I would still say it's a good one.
If they are able to pull this one off, it's going to be a good one for Rwanda and for Africa, because since 1993, when South Africa last hosted a Grand Prix, no African country has ever hosted the Formula One event again. And I think for me, it's a very big move from Rwanda. It's going to benefit not just Rwanda, but the continent of Africa. But away from that, let's head straight to the world of the UFC, because middleweight champion Israel Adesanya will face Nuruddin Imavov in the main event of UFC's debut show in Saudi Arabia, the ANB Arena. We had on Friday 1st. UFC CEO Dana White announced the fight card via social media on Saturday, with Michael Venom of Page moving up to middleweight to face defeated striker Sarah Magomedov. The co-main event, the debut marks Adesanya's first non-title fight since his victory over Anderson Silva in February 2019, with Brazilian middleweight contender Alcio Barajo revealing that the Nigerian New Zealander opted to face Imavov instead of him, following discussion between both parties. Adesanya ranked number 4 in the middleweight division, looked to bounce back from consecutive losses to champion Dricus Du Plessis at the UFC 305 August, and since Strickland at UFC 293 in September 2023. The event will be part of Riyadh Season's Ambition Sports program, as Saudi Arabia continued to cement its growing influence in global sport, presenting an opportunity for Adesanya to add another victory to his illustrious career and solidify his legacy as one of the greatest mixed martial arts of the generation. Now, Israel Adesanya hoping to bounce back after his devastating defeat to Dricus Du Plessis. Do you think that Israel Adesanya has what it takes to bounce back after that 2 consecutive losses that have actually pegged him back as one of the best in the mixed martial events?
Yeah, for me, Israel Adesanya, any day, anytime, is a big game player. He's a big fighter when it comes to the middleweight division in the UFC. And for me, that setback after losing back-to-back games for the first time in his career to Du Plessis as well as Strickland, I think it was a letdown for him and his team as a whole. Currently now, Israel will be thinking of going into this bout of anyhow it takes, or whatever it takes to win this particular one. That's what Israel Adesanya will be looking at. For me, I still see him to bounce back, but for me it will be a very difficult one, because for now a lot of fighters in the UFC, especially in the middleweight category, have been getting a win when facing Israel Adesanya. So for me, I think Israel Adesanya still needs to do a lot. He needs to keep his head in the game. Going into this bout and fighting in Saudi, I think a lot of crowd will be on his side to regain or to get a victory against his opponents. For me, I think Israel Adesanya still has all it takes. But for him, I still think he needs to keep his head in the game and getting into this bout.
Israel Adesanya truly need to keep his head up out there to get this one done and dusted. Don't forget, he need to bounce back and reclaim his pride of place in the octagon. Having suffered 2 defeats to the best hand in the system, I think it's right time for Israel Adesanya to bounce back into reckoning. But when we move to the NBA, as Gianni Antetokounmpo scored 32 points and secured 14 rebounds as the Milwaukee Bucks beat the Atlanta Hawks 110 to 102 to reach the NBA Cup final. The Bucks will face the Oklahoma City Thunders in the final on Thursday in Las Vegas after Shai Gilgeous-Alexander also scored 32 in their 111 to 96 semi-final success over Houston Rockets. Greek star Antetokounmpo, who currently lead the NBA scoring stats, added 9 assists, 4 blocks, and a steal. The Bucks had 25 points from Damian Lillard and 16 from Brook Lopez, while Trace Young led Atlanta with 35 points, 10 assists, and 7 rebounds. The win gives the Bucks a chance to make amends for losing the semi-final of last season's inaugural edition, as it is right now. Giannis Antetokounmpo once again coming to the rescue to deliver Milwaukee Bucks in this very one, thereby pushing them to the final. Do you think that they can win the final?
Oh, you never can tell. You never can tell these days because since 2021, when the Milwaukee Bucks actually clinched the NBA title, I have to say they've been quite inconsistent. Giannis has been the only shining light in that team, and Damian Lillard as well. He has done well for the team. We've seen other big game players also having to let Giannis take all the work when it comes to scoring points in that particular team. And I think the load is a lot on Giannis. But for this particular semi-final clash, I think having 32 points and having the victory is a good one for the Milwaukee Bucks. Going into that final on Tuesday, there's still a lot to be done. But for me, I want to tip them just to win this particular one.
Want to tip them? More competitive for the players, for the fans as well. And meanwhile, Milwaukee Bucks will lock horns with Atlanta Hawks. Yes, on Thursday against Oklahoma City Thunders. So it promises to be a massive one. Giannis Antetokounmpo doing massive thing as well. And I actually watched that game. I had to keep my eyes closed to that very game. I saw the grit, the power, the speed, and the determination from the Bucks out there. And I tell you, it's going to be a massive or a Mazalin display come Thursday against the Oklahoma City Thunders. Whether the Thunder is going to thunder against the Bucks, we'll keep our fingers crossed, hoping to see the best of the slamming and dunking games as they come Thursday. But then, like I told you, we have a lot on our package, especially the king of sport, talking about football. Have a lot for you this evening. But at this point, we'll match a break from the non-footballing story. When we are back, we'll head straight to the world of football. Keep it locked here. We'll be back in a jiffy.
From the lines across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring all the sport news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economic, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today. Only on ATN.
Alright, you're welcome back from that short break. Let's take you straight to the world of football this evening, but starting from the home scene at the highly anticipated Nigerian Premier Football League game on Talking about the Southwest derby between a newly promoted side Ikorodu City and two-time runners-up Remo Stars ended in a 1-1 draw at the Mobolaji Johnson Arena yesterday. As a result, Ikorodu City slipped to 6th place in the league, while Remo Stars surrendered their top spot to Rivers United. Finidi George's men regained the NPFL lead thanks to a spirited second-half display against Kwara United. The Pride of Rivers now hold a 2-point gap at the top with 32 points after 17 matches earlier on Saturday. Holders Rangers maintained their unbeaten run after holding Katsina United to a draw at the Mohammed Diko Stadium. The Flying Antelope have now failed to taste defeat in 10 consecutive Nigerian Premier Football League games. Fidelity Lechukwu's side currently sit in third position with 28 points from 17 games. In the other week, 17 matches played yesterday. Bayelsa United edged past Aqua United 2-1. Insurance forced Heartland to a 1-1 draw in Umahia. Niger Tornadoes hammered Sunshine Stars 4-1 in Mina, while Economy Warriors trounced Abia Warriors 3-0 in Maduguri. Now, the full result, we saw Niger Tornadoes, like I told you, defeated Sunshine of 4-0. Katsina United played 0-0 against Rangers. And then Heartland also were held at home by Bendel Insurance. Rivers United pipped Kwara United 2-1. Miracle, these are some of the fixtures. But one interesting aspect of the game, of the fixtures over the weekend, is about Ikorodu City and Remo Stars. Ikorodu City, if you've been following carefully, they have been on the rise in their last 7 games right now. They have been making a push, and don't also forget they are promoted into the top-tier football league. And they came up against one of the league leader, talking about Remo Stars at their home ground, and they were able to hold Remo Stars to 1-1 draw. Do you think that Ikorodu City is might even push for the title this season, or you think it's an early call to make?
For me, I think it will be a big one, to be a very tough one for them to push for the title. Looking at how they've started the season on a good note, flying high, I think the coach and the boys will just be looking at least a continental position, which I still feel that there's still a lot of games to play as well. I think being in the league and remaining in the league for this season and maybe next season, I think will be their target for now. And then for Remo Stars, dropping points away from home once more, but at least they will be going home with at least a point. I think to be a good one for them, other than dropping all 3 points. And Rivers United still retain their top spot at the Nigerian professional
table in the world of football. But away from that, Sunshine Stars have appointed Abubakar Bala as their new technical advisor for the rest of the season. Bala will take over from Bobola Akimbola, who had been head of the technical crew in an acting capacity. The Akure Gunners have been without a coach since their SY handler, Kennedy Boboye, resigned on November 10th, 2024. A young tactician is Sunshine Stars' third technical advisor in as many years. Bala last handled Nigerian National League side Doma United. He has previously managed Katsina United, Niger Tornadoes, and Kwara United as well. All right. Away from that, let's head straight to the CAF Confederations Cup, because some match took place last night as two-time CAF Champions League winner, talking about Enyimba FC, are walking league with just 22 points. Enyimba FC in the continent, not a good one. From 9 available points, they will just manage to pick one. 3 games played, 2 defeats, and 1 draw in the CAF Confederations Cup. Do you still see lights at the end of the tunnel for Enyimba? I think it's just over for them at this point.
For me, going from the way Nigerian teams have performed in the past while playing on the continent, especially Enyimba, of late, Enyimba have been very, very disappointing while playing on the continent. It's just Rivers United in the recent years that have qualified through the knockout stages and reached the quarterfinals back-to-back when playing on the CAF Confederations Cup. But in the recent years, especially in the CAF Champions League, Enyimba have been quite disappointing, and for me, it's not a good one.
Football League, and in the continent of Africa, they are also a powerhouse as well. But then, the result in their last 3 games right now haven't been very, very encouraging. They went away to lose 2-0 to Al Masry. They came back home. They were nearly defeated 2-0 right here in the Godswill Akpabio International Stadium, but they had to find a way to crawl back into that game and drew that game 2-2 in our own backyard. Now they went away to Red Bulls, one of the whooping boys. In short, the whooping team of that group, away to Mozambique, and they were beaten 3-0. In fact, they conceded early goal as early as 16 minutes. Enyimba was already down. And for me, it's a very difficult call for Enyimba to make right now for them to go through. But then, like I said, in football, you can never say never. Let's keep our fingers crossed, hoping that Enyimba is going to turn the tide around. But let's head straight to the big one tonight, where the king of Africa football, players in the top categories we see Nigeria produce are the winner of both awards for the third time. You can also recall that Nwankwo Kanu and Mercy Akide Odo in 1999, and Victor Osimhen and Asisat Oshola also did that in 2023. So if Lukman Ademola and Chiamaka Nnadozie get to win this one tonight, they will be coming. They will make the third Nigerian footballers in a in a row to win both categories. So let's head straight to the crux of the matter this evening. Away at Marrakesh, Morocco, Lukman Ademola against 4 other contenders. Miracle. The likes of Rondon Williams of South Africa, Simon Adingra of Cameroon, and of Ivory Coast and Brighton, Sekou Guirassy of Guinea, then Achraf Hakimi of Paris Saint-Germain and Morocco. Without being biased, without any form of sentiment, where do you think the pendulum is going to swing? Is it in favor of Lukman Ademola? You also have to check, their statistics, what they did for their club side and their country last season before you make your opinion.
Yeah, for me, without no sentiment, I want to say Lukman Ademola, for me, is a major front runner for this particular one. Let's look at his club achievements for the Atlanta team. Lukman Ademola led Atlanta to the Coppa Italia final, where he had a lot of goal contribution, about 3 goals and 2 assists in that particular one. But fortunately for him, he lost out in that final to the Inter Milan team. Same Lukman Ademola led his team, Atlanta, to the Europa League final, where his display of scoring a hat-trick in that particular one actually did well for... okay, he just joined Borussia Dortmund, let's not forget. He was previously in Augsburg. He did well for the Augsburg team. And last season, scoring a lot of goals. But his AFCON performance was nothing to write home about. He was actually knocked out at the early stages. Then the likes of Simon Adingra didn't quite do well for Brighton personally at club level. As for me also, he was not so spectacular in the AFCON, except from that final where he performed, and he actually had an assist in that particular final. Then if you look at Achraf Hakimi, he won the league and the League Cup with PSG team, and he was good for the Paris Saint-Germain team. But what was his impact playing down here at the AFCON that was previously won by Ivory Coast? I don't think he had a lot of impact in that particular AFCON ahead of Ademola Lukman and the rest. But for me, that's why I want to tip Ademola Lukman as my front runner for this particular award. And nevertheless, the likes of Simon Adingra, the likes of Sekou Guirassy, Achraf Hakimi as well, they were also impactful for their team. Let's not forget Ronald Williams also. He saved about 3 to 4 penalties in that particular AFCON also. Yeah. He had a fantastic display with Mamelodi Sundowns team, winning the league and doing well in the CAF and Champions League as well. And for me, but I want to just give Ademola Lukman that edge over the rest of his counterparts. And you never can tell what the CAF award will still give us this particular night. Fingers crossed. I just hope that our Nigerian an award this night.
We are very hopeful that they can come home with the awards tonight. But then there is this talk about the North African politicking per se. They have been making a lot of case for Achraf Hakimi as well. Then again, this evening we learned that the president of Paris Saint-Germain will also fly in with their player, talking about Achraf Hakimi for tonight's ceremony. Are you sensing any form of hanky-panky play in this very one because of the Northern African factor and all the politicking that is therein?
For me, I would say definitely not. Definitely not. If anybody is to be given this award, I wouldn't even tip Achraf Hakimi as a front runner for me, because I think other players, the likes of Brahim Diaz of Morocco, also still had a fantastic season with Real Madrid. For me, he didn't make the final five. I don't even think why. I don't think Achraf Hakimi had a better season than him. But nevertheless, never can tell what will still happen this night. Achraf Hakimi is a fantastic player, but this award, I wouldn't want to give it to Achraf Hakimi.
This award, we wouldn't want to give it to Achraf Hakimi, according to Miracle. But if you ask me, I think that Lookman Ademola have done a lot for his country, talking about the Super Eagles, and also for his club side last season, and also continued from where he stopped last season. In fact, as we speak, this season alone, he has been very, very consistent, scoring about 11 goals so far, plus 3 assists as we speak, still firing from all cylinders. So I think Lookman Ademola, we have our backing tonight to bring this one home after Victor Osimhen did that last time as well. A great one for, the Nigerian players out there. As all fingers crossed, just like Miracle said right here. If not for anything, but for the fact that, Lookman Ademola is our own, and he did pretty well. Not about being our own, but about the fact that he has been very consistent and he put in a lot of effort last season for his club side and for the Super Eagles as well. But away from that, let's head straight to the English Premier League. As last night, Manchester United produced a stunning comeback to secure a 2-1 victory over Manchester City at the Etihad Stadium, continuing their champions' run. Amad Diallo's struck last gasp winner, sending the visiting fans into ecstasy and handing United a crucial win. At 22 years and 157 days, Diallo became the second youngest player to score a 90-minute winner against a reigning Premier League champion after Neil Melo's feat against Arsenal in 2004. The result sees City stay in 5th spot, 9 points off leaders Liverpool, having played a game more with just 1 win from their last 11 matches. United, on the other hand, rose to 13th. Manchester City defeat marks only 4th time they have lost a Premier League home game under Joseph Guardiola when leading at halftime. Furthermore, it is the latest game in which a reigning champion has led in the Premier League and lost, after Sir Alex Ferguson. Ruben Amorim became only the second Manchester United boss to win their first Premier League Manchester debut. In other Premier League actions, Crystal Palace turned Brighton and Hove Albion 3-1 at the Amex Stadium, becoming the first team to beat Fabian Hustler's side at home this season. Also, Liverpool were held to a 2-2 draw by Fulham at Anfield, despite being reduced to 10 men after Andy Robertson were a red card for a professional foul on Harry Wilson. Arsenal were also held to a goalless draw by Everton at the Emirates. Despite dominating possession and having 13 shots on goal, the result moved Arsenal 3 points clear of Manchester City, with Mikel Arteta's side remaining in 3rd place. Miracle, the blockbuster game over the weekend is that Manchester derby. And so many pundits, octopus, football analysts, they even wrote Manchester United off even before that game. But it was a massive game that saw Manchester City taking the lead first. At that point, what came to your mind when Manchester United went behind, courtesy of Josko Vardiol's header in the first half?
Yeah, for me, I personally, for me, going into that game, I didn't see Manchester United taking all 3 points from that particular one, based on the recent form of Manchester United, losing back-to-back games from the likes of Arsenal and Nottingham Forest. So when Manchester United, Marcus Rashford was dropped yesterday, the likes of Alejandro Garnacho as well dropped. And for me, I think it's a good one. We saw how fantastic Matthias De Ligt, Lisandro Martinez and Harry Maguire were in defense yesterday as well. So for me, Manchester United did well getting that win over their counterpart Manchester City yesterday. But the big question is, what is wrong with Pep Guardiola's Manchester City? We've seen how Manchester City have dropped behind in recent times. Out of the possible 11 games, Manchester City have lost 8 out of their last 11 games. And for me, I think it's not a good one for Pep. Pep has come out to complain that all the blame should come to him instead of the players. And for me, I feel it's a 50-50 team. The players have not been able to be consistent. Pep also, his tactics have not been working for him. I think he's gone behind the pedal. Currently now, I don't think Manchester City are the front runners to lift the EPL title for the 5th time in a row again. We still have the likes of Chelsea, the likes of Liverpool, and Arsenal as well in the title contending race. But for me, I don't think Manchester City can retain their title this particular season.
Manchester City might not retain their title for this season, but then again, you mentioned another very vital point, talking about the Gunners, that is Arsenal, who were held to a goalless draw against Fulham, dropping another 2 points. Then for Liverpool as well, the league leader, they dropped yet another 2 points. They had to crawl back into that very game.
Title for me is one game at a time. If you play what is ahead of, in front of you, and everything that have come in front of Chelsea of late, they